So the Champions Chess Tour Winners Final has just finished. Now for the record here, there's going to be another final, the Grand Final, because there'll be a Losers Final, then the winner of that will play the winner of the Winners Final. So this isn't the absolute final thing, but it's right up there, right? So Magnus Carlsen is playing with black here. This is game 2, Alireza Firouzja with white, and Magnus took first blood. Alireza played the Najdorf, sharp position. Magnus just crushed him, to be honest. So Alireza trying to fight back with the white pieces, and this game is nuts, right? So let's check it out. We get e4 and Sicilian from Magnus. We're in for a fun one, but Magnus goes for the Taimanov variation. And David Howell was joking that Magnus said this is like an old man Sicilian because there's less theory to learn than some of the other crazy lines. Now we get bishop e3 played, a6, more pawns on light squares, so lots of dark squared weaknesses. Can Alireza take advantage? We'll watch what he does in a moment. We get queen f3, this is main line, knight f6, castles queenside. Magnus centralizes the knight with tempo, the queen moves, and now he goes wrong with his theory. Or maybe it was planned, I don't know. But b5 is the theoretical move. Magnus goes for the second computer move, but this is dangerous. Now f4 is a really good move for white, but another amazing one. Alireza just says, okay, you're world number 1, no worries, I'll sack the Horsey. Jumps into b5, giving an entire piece, and here's the point. The queen has to stay defending the knight, it is under fire. You can't come here or here, of course the knight controls, so the queen comes back to stay with the knight, and now bishop b6, and because you never moved the b pawn, the queen is completely boxed in. There are huge threats here, one of them being knight c7 check, king moves, queen picks up the knight. So black has to react in a, initiative manner. Can't get my words out tonight. Been really busy all evening, but black takes on e4, so you have to fight fire with fire. The queen is now under fire. It comes to e3, still huge pressure. What does Magnus do? Well, more initiative moves. Rook takes on a2. This is some craziness. White is better because after king b1, the rook's got to retreat. There's no queen a8 defending or knight c7 check. So rook a4 is played, the only square available. Magnus treading a tightrope. Alireza completely winning here, but he's got to find the right move. Now he starts with knight c7 check, correct. The king moves, but now here he has to take advantage of the fact that the rook has no squares available. So the best move for white, do pause if you want to look for it yourself, is to take advantage of that rook and play queen to... played Alireza's move, sorry. Play queen to b3. Now, that one's attacked, and what to do? The best computer line here is to take on f2. White takes here, black takes here, but now bishop e2, simply developing. The knight can't go anywhere. Well, it can come to f2. You don't take here or you lose your own knight, but rook e1 centralizes. White's doing really well here. The queen's boxed in, huge attack coming, problems for black. So what we saw instead though is rook d4, not the most precise move. I mean, what Alireza was looking for after queen captures is, okay, one of your knights is going to drop, Magnus defends, he takes this one, but look at your king stuck in the center, look at your queen boxed off. Surely this is good for white, but there's a problem. Magnus is a pawn up, and if he can unravel, you're in some trouble. So we see d5 now played. The queen drops all the way back. King f7 sidesteps, excuse me, and now here comes the bishop. We get f4, Alireza looking for initiative, but bishop d6, what a move. Magnus doesn't move the knight, he counterattacks on this one. So knight b5 retreats, hits this bishop, Magnus ignores, saves his knight here, that's got to be done, and if you capture, well, the queen's coming out the box. So Alireza goes for g3, protecting this pawn. Bishop d7, Magnus developing. We see queen d2 and now pawn h4. Just brutal stuff from Magnus. How does he get away with it? He's now opening the h line for his rook. Excuse me. So we see bishop g2, captures, pawn captures, the rooks come off, bishop takes, and now bishop b4, Magnus probing. He comes away from this knight attack, and maybe, whoops here, and maybe this queen is soon going to rejoin the game if this one ever moves. Now you can go c3. Alireza obviously didn't want to weaken the light squares, so he goes queen h2, looking for some counterplay down here. We see knight e7 retreating, opening the bishop to hit the knight, and you add defense around the king. Knight d4 played, now queen d6, and finally it comes out of the box, and that bishop has only got one decent square. I mean, you can come here, but looks miserable, you know. So Alireza first gives a check, the king steps back, now he goes bishop d8, and after bishop c5 from Magnus, pressuring this one, Alireza should immediately chop that knight, which defends the king. But he wants to keep his bishop pair, so he goes check. The knight now defends, and now we see knight b3. Pressuring this bishop, it drops back to b6. Alireza has to exchange, queen recaptures, and f5. He's looking to break things up, bring this one into the game, but Magnus is still a pawn up, and you just haven't got enough material attacking that king. We see queen g1 check, king a2, and Magnus, ruthless, snaps off a pawn, and look at the clock times. He's hugely ahead of Alireza. Alireza was looking for a kill, couldn't find it, played rook d4. Now he's on the back foot. He goes knight c5, hits this bishop, but queen d6, defends everything, and you can't go winning this pawn, or queen a6 check, you drop your knight. So Alireza, he takes here, counter-attacking on this bishop, so that if you take here, he takes here. So Magnus takes the pawn. Now we see knight d3, Alireza desperate to keep pieces on the board. Bishop f5, queen h5, hits the bishop, knight e7 defends. We get check, king f7, check, bishop g6, now queen e2, and after check, king b1, bang. Here Magnus is simplifying. Alireza keeps the queens on, but he's 2 pawns down. Queen e6, Alireza can't exchange. He gives the check. The pawn blocks, and he's not afraid of these checks. The knight is the king's best friend when it comes to defending. Now the bishop drops back. Just a miserable endgame. The king defends the bishop, and watch how Magnus just starts to make progress with these pawns. Yes, the queen swings round, but what to do? The knight defends the king so well. The pawn's marching. The queen centralized. It's brutal. Alireza had Magnus on toast, but he turned it around. Now the king even starts marching in. Magnus wins another pawn. It's just devastating. Alireza can't believe it. Here comes the king. He's playing on seconds, and now he resigns. Magnus is going to block that one off, march the pawns. You know, it's just brutal. Nothing left to play for. And in the next game, Alireza had to win. He couldn't do it. Magnus had white. He won the game. Alireza played a French. So Alireza goes down 3 games to nothing. Could have been a different story if he'd found queen b3. If he'd trapped Magnus's rook, you know, turned this one around. Anyway, that's chess. I hope you enjoyed this one. Do hit subscribe and like, really helps me out. And check out the video on screen for another epic game of chess. Thanks very much for watching, and see you soon.